All right, today we're going to look at the California horses. We're going to see if maybe they're flying under the radar a little bit. These are the 1-2 finishers in the Santa Anita Derby right here. So Happy winning the Santa Anita Derby for Mark Glatt and Mike Smith. The Bob Baffert trained Potente finishing second. And without much fanfare, the Santa Anita Derby did get a 100 buyer figure this year. The race went 2/5 of a second faster than it did last year when Journalism won the race over Baeza. They were the eventual second and third place finishers of the Kentucky Derby. Although going over the two respective cards, I would say the track was quite a bit slower last year. The main basis for my opinion on that is that the Santa Anita Oaks last year was won in a time over 2 full seconds slower than this year. Indeed, on the Santa Anita Derby undercard last year, Tenma went 146 flat, winning the Santa Anita Oaks at 1 1/16, whereas this year Meaning went 143 and 4, running a time technically 2 1/5 second faster. Now Tenma went on to finish 4th in the Kentucky Oaks in her next start. So maybe pay attention to how the two horses coming out of the Santa Anita Oaks this year. Meaning was the winner of the Santa Anita Oaks. If she happens to run big and win the Kentucky Oaks the day before the Derby this year, maybe you can upgrade the Santa Anita Derby just a tad. For a quick pedigree note on these two horses, So Happy is sired by Run Happy. Run Happy was a champion sprinter, and he was by Super Saver, who did win the Kentucky Derby. So Happy out of a Blame mare. Blame won the Breeders' Cup Classic going 1.25 miles at Churchill. Whereas the Baffert-trained Potente, on the other hand, has a huge pedigree. This is a horse that was a $2.4 million yearling, sired by Into Mischief. Sons of Into Mischief have won 3 of the last 6 Kentucky Derbies. And Potente is out of a mare named Sweet Sting. Sweet Sting, sired by Awesome Again, who was a sensational 4-year-old. Horse of the Year at age 4. Won the 1998 Breeders' Cup Classic at Churchill Downs. And that was top to bottom, probably the deepest Breeders' Cup Classic field ever. Awesome Again coming from 8th that day, weaving his way through the stretch with Pat Day to win it. And Sweet Sting is out of Perfect Sting. So Perfect Sting, the second dam of Potente, won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf at 11 furlongs at age 4. She also was a champion. So this female family is just loaded with late developing route horses. Awesome Again coming off the pace at 1.25 miles. Perfect Sting coming from off the pace at 11 furlongs. There is big time stamina and late development on the female side of the Potente pedigree. But with that pedigree note out of the way, let's get right into the San Felipe. This is where So Happy and Potente met. So Happy came into the San Felipe undefeated, winning a maiden special weight race nicely with stock and go tactics, 38-1 odds. Won Grade 2 San Vicente in his second start, 121 flat for 7 furlongs. Sat in third and drew off to win by 2 lengths. Whereas with Potente coming into the San Felipe, he only had one start, a 6-furlong maiden sprint, which he won wire to wire. And you got to give it to Baffert. Only Baffert could take a horse with that kind of female family and get it to win first time out wire to wire going 6 furlongs. So Baffert, a former quarter horse trainer, trains him hard and gets him ready. With that said, we're going to watch the San Felipe now. And here is the San Felipe. The 4-5 favorite in this race was the Baffert-trained speed horse, Brant, the number 4. The number 5 is Potente, and the number 6 is So Happy.
We're in the gate. And they're off in the San Felipe Stakes presented by DK Horse. And the favorite Brant comes out smoothly. So Happy comes after him in the early stages, and Robusta is just outside of them. Potente is a close-up 4th, just about 2 lengths off the leader. Then comes Secured Freedom, racing on the outside of Flashy Fritz, and after a slow start, Start the Ride is at the back of the field. They're coming to the 6-furlong pole, and it's the heavy favorite Brant leading it by a neck, with So Happy trying to keep him honest. Robusta is 3 deep. Potente is just inside of him. At the rail, Kazushi Kimura and Secured Freedom inching a little bit closer, and very willingly, he's trying to find a narrow opening, but has to wait right now. 4 lengths back to Flashy Fritz, and Start the Ride at the back with a half mile left to go. And it's Brandt carving out the fractions. So Happy about a half length behind. Robusta trying to make an early bid to quicken the tempo, and he has done so. Secured Freedom has to bide his time. Potente keeping pace in fifth. Just 3 lengths covers that quintet. Start the Ride is trying to get into it. And a long way to Flashy Fritz. Robusta has taken the lead with a quarter of a mile to go. So Happy is trying to cling to him. At the rail, Brandt is under heavy pressure. He's dropping out of it. And in behind them comes Secured Freedom. Potente is trying to rally on the outside. Robusta with a 16th to go, shifting in while leading by 2. Potente on the outside of So Happy. Potente is lengthening stride, coming to the wire. Has to get to Robusta. And here is Potente. Perfectly timed by Juan Hernandez.
All right, there's that old saying, pressure can burst a pipe. It can also make a diamond. And Brandt was your 4 to 5 favorite in this race. Maybe looked like lone speed on paper. So Happy 2-1, the main contender. And you see Mike Smith was kind of moving his hands a little bit early on So Happy just to keep Brandt honest. As we run it here, you see him, he's trying to apply some pressure on the 4 to 5 favorite, just keep him honest. You know, he's head and head here. Maybe I'm making excuses for So Happy a little bit, but you know, this was a case where he may have won the battle and lost the war. Kept the pressure on Brandt, kept Brandt from getting away with an easy lead. Brandt was his chief rival in the betting, and you're going to see the 7 Robusta make an aggressive 3-wide move, and this is going to put So Happy in kind of a tough spot in between them, and he flattens out through the lane, but So Happy, you know, head and head early, used a little bit to keep Brandt honest. And it just might be a better horse that runs with the stock and go trip rather than, you know, having to run hard the whole way. Now here in the lane, Potente in the red cap, he's going to shift to the outside here. Just these long bounding strides he comes with to win this race. This was his first time going around a ground, just had that 1-6 furlong race in him. And this is what he's bred to do. He's bred to, you know, come from off the pace, going long. Going to have a tremendous gallop out in this race. If you watch Potente after the wire, a powerful gallop out. Looks like a horse that is going to have no problem going much further. So off that race in the San Felipe Stakes, it's on to the Santa Anita Derby. And in the Santa Anita Derby, you're almost going to see a reversal in tactics here. So Happy head-to-head the whole way in the San Felipe, was kind of eyeballing the favorite Brandt early, got jumped on by Robusta on the far turn. They're going to change tactics and just get back to these stock-and-go tactics they used in the first 2 races. Whereas Potente, the Baffert horse, with all that late development distance breeding, they came from behind the pace in the San Felipe Stakes. In the Santa Anita Derby, they had an inside post with Potente. And Baffert's an old quarter horse trainer. He trains his horses hard. He likes them to show speed from the gate. A lot of times he'll have the riders get after him early. With Potente getting an inside draw in the Santa Anita Derby, he's going to be the one that's head and head early and kind of in a fight the whole way. Is this going to be a case of pressure bursting a pipe or pressure making a diamond? We'll watch the Santa Anita Derby and find out now. And here is the Santa Anita Derby, Potente number 2. So Happy, number 5.
And they're off in the Santa Anita Derby, and a little stumble for Cherokee Nation. Potente came out beautifully, and so did Robusta, who's right up alongside. So Happy in the 3-path, and Intrepido will now tuck in behind these 3. Start the Ride, who was off slowly, moves up. Vitruvian Man inside of him, and after a tough beginning, Cherokee Nation's at the back of the field. Juan Hernandez has Potente in front, rounding the clubhouse turn at the Great Race Place, with Robusta a half length back in second. Vitruvian Man is down at the rail. In between horses, Start the Ride, So Happy outside of them. Hector Barrios and Intrepido forced to go 4 wide, and Cherokee Nation's a handful at the back of the field. 4 lengths covers them, 5 furlongs from home. Potente and Robusta are on even terms heading to the half-mile pole. Then it's So Happy in third. Start the Ride, Vitruvian Man. Intrepido 4 lengths off the leader, and Cherokee Nation. They're heading toward the far turn, and Robusta continues to put the pressure on Potente. Potente at the rail, Robusta right up alongside. So Happy 2 lengths back in third, and Trepido tries to make his move. Behind them, Start the Ride under pressure. 3 lengths back, Vitruvian Man and Cherokee Nation. They're a quarter of a mile from home. Potente, Robusta, here's So Happy with a 3-wide move, and now it's So Happy and Potente who go on with it at the top of the stretch. Robusta is back to third, then Intrepido. They're in the final furlong. So Happy on the outside, and Mike Smith, Potente and Juan Hernandez are nose and nose, and So Happy puts him away late. It's So Happy pulling away to win the Santa Anita Derby by almost 3 lengths over Potente.
All right, you see Potente on the lead here, the number 2 horse. He's got his ears pinned back, and he's got Robusta looking him in the eye right to his outside. I just don't know if this is the right running style for Potente here. You know, he's just in a fight a long way out. Mike Smith didn't rush So Happy in this race. He kind of let him settle. So we'll run it now. Potente, young, lightly raced horse, maybe just didn't stand up to this pressure. He's got a horse on his outside looking him in the eye. Had his ears pinned kind of early. So Happy was not ridden as aggressively early in this race as he was in the San Felipe. Got his preferred stalk and go trip, and Potente, you'd have loved to have seen the pressure make the diamond, but the pressure burst the pipe here in his case. As So Happy comes with his winding run. Intrepido, the Jeff Mullins horse, is making a 4-wide bid here. I know the Sheets players kind of liked him going in this race. I guess they thought he had a good pattern, had a wide trip and kind of flattened out. But these two really got away through the lane. And right here, Potente's really digging in. He's trying to fight back. So Happy coming to him with a head of steam. And it takes a real high-quality horse to get run at early, head and head, put the horse completely away, and then turn back another good horse making a fresh bid at him. Potente wasn't up to it in the Santa Anita Derby. If you did want to make an argument for Potente, you say, hey, run a 79 first time out, an 89 second time out. In the Santa Anita Derby, he progressed again into the high 90s. It is Bob Baffert. You do have that late development route pedigree on the bottom. If this horse happens to just turn in sensational workouts and look like he's turning the corner, it's certainly possible in just his 4th start that he could step forward with an improved race. You know, Baffert has officially won 6 Kentucky Derbies, which ties him all time with Ben Jones for the most in the history of the race. He's actually won 7 from a betting standpoint. Medina Spirit crossed the wire first in the Derby. Bettors got paid, was later subsequently disqualified for a drug test. So Baffert's been able to do it 7 times for betting purposes, 6 times officially. And I would really need to see something in Potente's final workouts that indicate that he's really turning the corner. And I really hope that they wouldn't try to go to the lead with this horse in the Kentucky Derby. You know, maybe just a nice forward stalking trip. Make one move with him rather than having him in a dogfight the whole way. But So Happy is the horse we should be talking about. He is the one that won the Santa Anita Derby. And he did get 100 buyer in this race. Whether or not you trust that number is another story. Like I said, maybe we'll learn a little bit more about how accurate that figure is when we see the Kentucky Oaks and see how the top 2 finishers in the Santa Anita Oaks run in the Kentucky Oaks, because the Santa Anita Oaks was on the Santa Anita Derby undercard, and those were the 2 dirt route races that day, and there is clear relevance between those 2 races. But as for So Happy, I think he might look live on the far turn. This is a horse, you know, he's getting 121 flat here in the San Vicente. There's not a ton of pace in this Derby. If the pace doesn't materialize and is kind of on the slow side, and So Happy's, you know, just sitting there comfortably 3rd, 4th, getting a nice clean trip. When Mike Smith pushes the button, I think So Happy will look live for a while. You know, will he be able to kick it in from there and see out the 1.25 mile distance and, you know, beat all these horses? I really think that's unlikely, but certainly stranger things have happened. And Mark Glatt, you got to hand it to him, having a very good meet there at Santa Anita, was winning at 23% coming into this race. Got the job done in the Santa Anita Derby with So Happy. Thank you for watching, everyone.